All right, guys, welcome back. Survival Living here. It says that we're live, although my phone says we're not. So if you can see us on your end, let me know. Tonight, I've got my buddy. He's right over there. Good friend of mine, Ryan over there, Prescott Caliber Club. I want to bring him involved and start talking about some of the things that he's doing over there with his channel, his business, because I know this guy personally. He's a prepper. He does freeze dry. He does the whole 9 yards. I've even raised chickens and kill snakes. This guy personally.
Dang right.
Let me get my volume down here. There we go. So audio is working. Took forever for the video to show up. So sorry, guys. I'll be trying to follow along right here. So in case that got cut off, this is Ryan from Prescott Caliber Club. His links are in the description, his Instagram, his website, and his YouTube channel. So Ryan, I wanted to have you up here because I want to discuss preparedness with you on this, some ideas and things like that. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is the freeze dryer. Plain out simple. We see them. We know a lot of people have been looking at them. They're always expensive because they're a piece of equipment that actually run and operate. And I know that you've done a lot of freeze drying there at the home. You've done testing, done videos and stuff like that. So if you'd like to talk a little bit about it, I think everybody would like to know more about these freeze dryers.
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everybody. I'm Ryan. For those of you who don't know me, I've been a member of your channel since you had 52 subscribers, I believe it was. So a long time. Me and Survival Living, we just kind of hit it off via YouTube. We kind of became friends, and behind the scenes, we chat, talk a lot, run ideas past each other. And he's always been a big supporter of my channel, my business, which is the Prescott Caliber Club. I am a federally licensed firearm manufacturer and dealer. I also do all kinds of emergency preparedness stuff, like he mentioned, freeze dryers. Lately, I've been doing some custom solar generator builds. I've even been doing packages for people where I'll arrange all of the components to get sent to them. That type of stuff. So it's all pretty good stuff. But in regards to the freeze dryers, I am a Harvest Right dealer. So I've been doing that for about 2 or 3 years. And what turned me onto it clearly was, like, you look at the price of freeze dried food, even if you go into Walmart or something, those cans, it's not a couple dollars here and there. I mean, it gets to be pretty expensive. And so I started to wonder, is it maybe more beneficial to do it myself? And I did find that part of it, like the biggest obstacle, everybody's first thing is always, I can't afford one. That's way too much. So a few areas that I found there, just to kind of, so you're able to wrap your head around it. I think if you have like a group, a prepper group, a mag, something like that, where you could get 4 or 5 people together and everybody chips in a little bit of money, and then whatever, you just run over to whoever's house it's at and do your freeze drying. It's fairly, relatively affordable. None of this is like, oh yeah, just no big deal, but we're talking a few $100s instead of a couple $1,000s. The other thing that I found really kind of as a selling point for me, you don't need to have this great big huge large freeze dryer where the thing's $4,000 and you could do X amount, like this huge quantity of food and stuff like that. There's smaller freeze dryers that will work really well. They're around $2,000 or so. But if you look at the price of freeze-dried food, a few years ago, I bought a pallet of freeze-dried food for the store, and it was 1 year's worth for 4 people. So basically 4 years worth of freeze-dried food. And that thing was like, and this before everything hiked up, like way before it too. I paid like $3,500, $4,000 for that. I'm sure now it's probably maybe even more, $6,000. So if you look at it like that, if you're going to spend $2,000 and get this freeze dryer and start building your own supply, it is an upfront investment, a lot more than, just buying freeze-dried food. But at the same time, once you hit that limit, wherever that, X amount of years worth of your own meal prepping, compared to how much the pallet costs, then it's all kind of free from there and starts reducing the price. So yeah, for me, I've go ahead.
No, I agree with you on that. I wanted to say something like you talked about if you had a mag or a group combining everything, because what people don't understand, when we talk about mags and group, it's a mutual assistant group or a prepping community. We are in bed with each other. We're friends. We work together. We cook out together. They are family. All right. So something like that, a large group puts together. I did not know about the smaller freeze dried machines. I've always seen the large ones. I've never seen the small ones before. So it's actually pretty neat that they actually have it, so you can actually do smaller batches and stuff. Because I get these questions all the time about what's the best freeze dryer. Well,
Yeah.
I direct people to my buddy Ryan because I know he has them. I don't have one. All right. I would love to have one, but I don't have one. And I buy a lot of freeze dried food because we have a 2-year supply of normal rotation stock. But if you can buy food and freeze dry it correctly, and this is something that Ryan's going to be able to talk about too, some of his experience on what he's been able to freeze dry and his issues or anything like that he may have had. This is something that when you're in the position, you can definitely step up your game. I always tell everybody, make sure you get a 2-year supply of normal rotational stock. All right. That's a fraction of the cost. And you guys know I sell long-term food storage. All right. So does Ryan. You know, it's part of the prepping community. We do. But we're still preppers and we're still trying to figure out a way on how we can save a buck for one and still get prepared. And this item right here, well, I'm gonna let him discuss some of the things that he's been freeze drying because I've seen his video with the big old tube of hamburger meat. But
Meat slapping.
we won't be talking about that one.
That's funny. Yeah.
Right fast before we get in that, I'm sorry.
No,
Right fast. Van City Prepper, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. If you guys have not been over to her channel, hopefully one of our mods get those links in there. Hope you guys can get the links up for Ryan's YouTube channel. Gene W, definitely do appreciate you always being here. Everybody, Angela, good to see you, my friend. John, good to see you. Homestead Homeboy, always a pleasure, my friend. Good to see you. And I did see Crafty Veteran, brother. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with us today. So now I'm going to put you right back on the spot. Prepping by Faith, good to see you, my friend. I just subbed to your channel. I was way behind. I've needed to sub. I subbed early this morning. I finally found your channel and I finally got subbed over there. So sorry it took so long. All right, back to you, Ryan, on some of the things that you've been able to freeze dry and stuff. You know, any problems or what you found works best, things like that. For ideas for people.
Yeah. So I guess we could talk a little bit about like when you mentioned the sizes of the freeze dryers. From what I deal in with Harvest Right, I'm sure there's other companies out there that are great. I just really like them. They've got a good name. They've got their customer service is good. Their warranties are good. Everything with them is just they're a solid company to deal with. They sell them in small, medium, and large, and then they also have pharmaceutical models. And I think the pharmaceutical models have more to do with really exact temperature adjustments and things like that. So if you're making whatever pharmaceuticals, I don't know what they would make in them, but whatever they're making in them, yeah, exactly. This could go into a whole other business too, but so there are 3 different sizes, and they go anywhere from about, like I said, a little over $2,000 up to about $5,000 for the ones that I sell the most of. I really do like the smallest one for most people because most people in the prepper community end up, you know, not having. I mean, if you've got crazy amount of money, then just go buy everything you need. But most of us are trying to figure out how to make this work without just having an endless bankroll. So that small one is the one that I've seen the most benefit for the price point. I've seen, like I said, you could buy a couple years worth of freeze dried food or get yourself a freeze dryer and start doing it. The other cool thing is you could do it with stuff like leftovers. You could do it stuff with like for me, my family has this cheesy potato recipe that's just every year, every big celebration, we have these awesome cheesy potatoes. So I always think like, how cool would that be? Whatever, 3 years into some crazy grid down scenario where you're eating grandma's cheesy potatoes. I mean, you get the opportunity to kind of figure out what it is you like to eat, the recipes you like, the things that are best for you, and roll with those. Though the couple areas that I found the biggest benefit in for freeze drying has been raising my own, well, gardening and then raising my own chickens. Freeze drying powdered eggs, protein, you know, having bags. I should have brought some in here so you guys could see if we do take a break at some point. I'll grab one. But essentially, I'm getting bags that are 12 inches by 16 inches or so, and they're a couple inches thick, and it's got about six dozen freeze dried eggs in it. If any of you guys raise chickens, you know it's easy to end up with a 500 eggs sitting on your counter. Like, what am I going to do with these things? So that's been a really good one. And then, of course, you could do your vegetables, all of that. We've kind of started experimenting. My wife is Cajun. She's a great cook, and she's got all these awesome recipes. And so we're starting to try to play with, like, can we freeze dry appropriate quantities of everything. So it's almost like just dump in and you end up with a gumbo or something like that. So there is some cool like creativity that can be really fun with it too. The only thing you really run into that's a big issue is it doesn't affect, you could pretty much freeze dry anything. You could take a hamburger from McDonald's and stick it in there, run the process and pull it out, and it's a freeze dried hamburger. But how long is that hamburger going to last? Most of the time, if there's no oils in it, if there's no fats in it or anything like that, these things really will last 25, 30 years. Now, when you do straight meat, like hamburger meat and stuff, it can go rancid quicker. I'm not talking, in a year or anything, but you're probably not going to get that 25, 30-year thing because it's not pulling the oils out of the meat. That's still left there. And so storing it properly and stuff is important in those scenarios. But that's kind of the one issue to pay attention to when you're freeze drying is, if you're taking some really fatty meat and freeze drying it, it's not going to last 30 years. I haven't tested it 30 years out, but I can almost guarantee you it's not going to last 30 years. So those are that's kind of the bugaboo that I've found really only is that piece, coming up with the finances to be able to afford it, and then knowing exactly what you're freeze drying so you don't end up freeze drying a whole bunch of stuff, and then when you need it, you open it up and you're like, oh man, this is no good. As far as like what you need for the freeze dryer too, that was the other thing I was going to mention. We have like whole starter kits.
Supply.
Yeah,
Power supply and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have these whole starter kits. So like on the smaller freeze dryer units, they go into a standard 110 outlet. It's no big deal. Just any regular plug in your house is good. I do have the large one. When I got the whole setup for the store and everything, the display model was the big one, and that did need 220. So I had to install an outlet for that. Most of them just plug right in. I've built a solar generator for mine so that if in the event of something later on and needing to figure out how to store food, I can actually do that from the sun. But then packaging your food is really simple. It's kind of just like a food saver type situation with Mylar, so you get packages of Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, you freeze dry your food, put it in these bags and take all the air out, press it sealed, you're good to go. So it's
I was wondering about the power supply because back when I was looking into them, they needed 220. So the smaller units need a 110 outlet because I get that question a lot from my experience, research on them. They were all the big power supply, and I was like, man, I'd love to have one, but I don't have the room or the power to get up because I run everything 110, 12-volt systems. So something like that, it's not going to kill you in the power bill because you're using 110 instead. And you're not going to need a new plug put in if you're using a smaller one to your dryer and your refrigerator outlet. Well, I don't think the new refrigerator uses 220 anymore. I think they're all 110 now. The old school ones with a big old freaking plug going in. So, right fast, I want to get back in the chat here, guys. Survival Game, good to see you. I saw Gone Girl 777, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing? And I definitely do appreciate you shouting out the channel and getting more people sent my way. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sorry, guys. Definitely, if you got questions for me or Ryan, ask away. Put it all in caps, or use the @ icon, Survival Living, and it lights up on my screen so I can see it better. Makes it easier when I'm scrolling through this chat trying to find questions and stuff. But this is one of the things I wanted to talk about because this is the questions I get. And the fact is, I don't have experience with freeze dryers except for buying freeze dried food. And like you were just saying, the price is going up, and it's going up across the board on all companies. All companies are fixing to go up. Now there are some long-term food companies that have not went up yet, but the fact is, supply and demand, either from food, material, or packaging, and mainly packaging, because a lot of packages are from overseas, and that's even American-based companies that still get the packages from overseas because they don't have the plants here to manufacture them. So they have to wait on that stuff, and the cost comes to us. So, all in all, a small unit broken up with a group. And that's another thing. A lot of people want that instant gratification. Well, if I can't buy it right now, I don't want it. I've never been able to buy anything whenever I wanted. I always had to save up. So that's an option. It's something you can save up for, purchase, and you can freeze dry your own stuff. So on your channel, do you have a playlist? Or I know you did some videos on the hamburger meat and stuff. Do you have more?
I don't have a ton, but it'd be something I'd be definitely be open to doing. I've kind of just thrown them in there randomly when I'm doing whatever certain little, if I'm doing videos on an outing we're doing and I'm getting prepared for it or something like that, there's some video content in there. But I definitely would be open to, if anybody does jump over there, subscribe, go to the video I do have and just start talking about it, ask your questions. Usually if I get some questions, I'll start doing videos on them, so anything that anybody's wondering, um,
Yeah,
we can
a
definitely
lot
get
of
it
people
going.
like to see the process again. Like I said, I do remember the hamburger meat one when you did that one. So,
Yeah.
one of the things, do the small freeze dryers need a drain put in? As a question.
No. So, okay, so we can talk a little bit about the process of how it works, and then we can answer that question. But the bottom line is, you could do it with a drain. It doesn't. I just use a bucket, to be honest. But the process, for those of you who don't understand it, freeze drying it's really cool science, actually. So you take and you put your food inside of this unit, and it seals and creates a vacuum. The thing pulls all of the oxygen out, and then it reduces the temperature down to like -10 or something. So all of your liquids inside of the food turn to a solid. It pulls the oxygen out of the machine and then warms it back up. And when it warms it back up without oxygen, it cannot turn back into a liquid. So what it does is it turns into a gas. So all of the liquids, the water that's inside of your food essentially gets pulled out in the form of gas. And it just does this over and over and over. And it keeps checking your food to make sure that it can kind of tell when your food has finally absorbed, or the system's absorbed all the water out of the food. But then in the process after you freeze dry, that's when you would have a drain kind of thing going on, where there's sometimes, there's an inch or two of ice all the way around the entire thing. And you just turn it on, open the valve on the side, and you could run it via a hose right outside. You could run it over a couple of feet to your sink or toilet or whatever you want to do. So you definitely don't have to have a drain. Might make it easier. I don't use one. When I'm done, I just pull a 5-gallon bucket out, throw the tube in there, and a day later I come back and dump the water and clean the machine out, and then I'm good to go.
Okay, so this is good information because I've never experienced them. So yeah, firsthand use there. So hopefully that there answers that questions for you.
Yep.
Virginia Bushcrafter, good to see you, my friend. Blue Collar, how's it going? Good to see you. Farmer Son Prepping, good to see you. Now, this is something I know a lot of people are interested in. And, on the platform, we try to be careful about certain phrases and words. But I want to talk about the services that you provide there on your website. So you're actually
Yep.
a legitimate business that deals with firearms, gunsmithing, modifications, up to legal modifications and stuff like that. And I like people to know
Right.
more about it because I get asked about a lot of things, and they don't trust the person that they want to go take things to. I want
Yeah,
you to
for sure.
talk about what your background is with this, what you are with that.
Yeah, so I do have an FFL, so I'm federally licensed, and I have an 0702 FFL, which means that I'm a licensed manufacturer. And then the O2 is basically states that I could deal with NFA items. So I could build machine guns, I could build suppressors, I could build short barrel stuff. I could do pretty much anything. Now, whether or not I'm capable of building some of those things is another question, because like you said, you get these guys sometimes, especially on YouTube, where they talk a big game. And honestly, the America's rifle, we'll just call it that, if you take that abbreviation, that rifle is really a plug and play Lego style kind of thing. And it opened the door for a lot of people to be like, yeah, I'm a gunsmith, but they're really just assembling things. And most of the time with that platform, it's kind of okay. But when you get into some other stuff, it can get complicated. And you definitely want to know that the guy you're taking it to is somebody who's capable of it. There's things, I'm very straightforward with stuff. I've developed a whole bunch of relationships with people really all across the United States. There's things that I'm either not great at doing, or I just don't have experience, or I never was taught, or whatever. So I have avenues to outsource those things all the time. And they're people that I trust, fully with all of my stuff. So like right now I've got an old STG 44 machine gun in the works for that's being rebuilt, and I had to outsource it for part of the re-weld because it was cut in half at the end of the war. they used a 3/4 inch saw blade and just cut straight through the bolt, the receiver, the whole nine, the trunnion. And then you've got to remake that somehow. And I'm not an expert welder, so there's no way I could do it. So I outsourced that to a company in Las Vegas. We're close to Vegas. There's a lot of good stuff out there for, this type of stuff. So I think really the key is kind of looking for either somebody who's a little bit humble, or you'll know the guy. Like it's no mystery. The guys who are really, really good at what they do, they're going to have a lot of following, a lot of good reviews. They're going to be names that people are going to recognize. And then if, not everybody's great at everything. So like for me, I just always tell people that's not something that I'm going to personally put my hands on and do, but you bring it to me, I will, arrange it all and get it all done and whatever. And it's not something usually either where it costs you any more money. I have deals with these companies where they give me a discount off the services. So like if I'm bringing work in for them, it doesn't cost you anymore. It just roll it over to them and they discount it to me. And then that's how I end up making my money off of the deals or whatever.
Yeah. So you're able to outsource anything that willing to tackle or can't tackle. You actually have the connections to it. It says get it manufactured or refurbished or anything like that right there.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. And then there's another piece to the whole thing too.
Your rare breed trigger video. That was pretty awesome. This guy sat there and he kept working on it and kept working with it. He just would not give up. So he got all his stuff situated and he went right back at it again. That was actually a pretty cool video. So those that actually know what a rare breed, if you don't know, go check it out. It's awesome video on that.
Yeah, that brings me right into the next thing I was going to say anyway. The other piece to really pay attention to is the legality of all this stuff, because some of the things you watch videos online and I'll be watching them on like felony, depending on what parts there and what they're doing with them and stuff like that can really make a big difference there. I have attorneys that I'm just friends with, and they're gun attorneys. So this is all they do is deal with either like firearms trust, firearms manufacturing. They do licensing for our firearms people and stuff like that. So if you could find somebody who has somebody like that to ask questions to, that's a big plus. That's a really big plus. And as far as the rare breed thing goes, that's a really interesting topic. I'm considering doing another video on it soon. It's a hot topic because essentially the ATF has a set of rules, right, which determine what is legal and what is not. And this company followed all of the rules to manufacture this trigger. But the outcome is that the trigger fires really, really fast and they don't like it. So they're trying to kind of do what they did with bump stocks, just say, oh, no, this is a machine gun because we say it is, or because it shoots this fast, or because of whatever. But the reality is that's not how the law determines what it is. So the ATF has been trying to take this company down. They've confiscated items from the people that they have making, pieces and parts of their mechanism and stuff. And essentially they were taken to court by the ATF saying that you guys are selling illegal firearms here and you need to stop, or every single one you transfer is like a 10-year, $500,000 kind of issue. I mean, it's not a small thing. But Rare Breed, I believe, came into this whole thing wanting this fight. They came in with the idea like the ATF is overstepping. They're continuing to do it. This is legal, and we're gonna make it work. So the last court case that was going on was actually tossed out, and right now we're at a fresh start. Rare Breed just re-sued the ATF, and they're going after them aggressively. Like they want the ATF to provide a letter saying this is legal, period. You can buy these and own these, period. So it's a real good company. But yeah, if anybody's interested, there's some good videos over on my channel. I have a little playlist over there that goes through the whole process of what the product is, how to install it, how to use it, what it looks like, and then also a bunch of the lawsuits and the court cases and all that I have broken down on the channel.
No, that's one of the reasons why I brought this up, because you see a lot of stuff on the internet, forums and YouTube and all that stuff. You're actually right there. You speak with these lawyers that actually deal with firearm rights and everything. And this is the information that you provide. Because I've seen dude, you're out there testing just about everything out. I mean, if you want to see some things go bang, 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 he's got them. He's actually testing these things out. He's actually going through. And he lets you know when new laws are being pushed and squeezed through. He's letting you know, hey, this is going on. And that's why I like your channel, where you can actually know where you get the information from. You get the heads up on it. And I definitely encourage, especially, guys, we know they're always pushing to take away certain rights. We know that.
Absolutely.
And what you do on your channel, I mean, you always pulled it out. Hey, this is what's going on now, and you need to be aware of this. And it's always been the factual information, because you're getting it straight from either manufacturer, the lawyer, the activist rights groups for firearm constitutional rights. It's not just some dude on the internet yapping away about they're gonna take our guns. It's nothing like that. He's actually right there in the middle of all this stuff. And that's why, I wanted to here on my channel, I want to start pulling more people that I consider experts, people that are actually involved with everything from outdoor survival to prepping to news, everything that is right there in it, and they know what's going on with the stuff because it's their life. So that's why I wanted. Plus, I like giving you a hard time. I talk to him late at night sometimes. I do.
Yeah.
Wife rolls over, says, "Put your phone down." Yeah.
Absolutely. And
we've been
the other thing,
for a very long time, guys.
it is getting to be a while. God, it's got to be 4 or 5 years now, almost, huh? I mean, quite a while.
After those emails, man. After those emails, and you were chased down there. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is that was a fun. I'll see if I could find that and plop that link in at some point. I forget what we titled that. That was funny though.
I don't know. We kept on getting popped on the title because of the emails that had to be turned over. Well, we got hold of them, and we did a whole video on it, and we just kept on getting hit because you can't say certain political family names and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. It's got to be in here somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but man, that was funny. But the other thing I was going to say on like the rare breed stuff, I also part of my career in the past has been administration for healthcare facilities, and so I had to do a lot of like policy and procedure writing based on state regulations and laws and stuff. So I'm familiar with how to read, those types of things. So a lot of times I'll take a new ruling that's coming out or a court case that came out, and we'll go through the actual court case and read it. It's not just like you said, some guy saying, "Oh, this is BS," and blah blah. It's taking a look at what they're suing, why they're doing it, every little bit, and addressing all of those things piece by piece. I'll usually lay those videos out in a fashion where it's like, here's the case, here's everything going on with the case. So we go to each little section and break down exactly what they're saying. It's none of this just kind of arbitrary, oh, that's BS. It's like, well, they're saying it's this because they're claiming this, and it's wrong because of this. Like, I try to stay as in-depth as I can and just make it not so much opinion other than just going through it and really breaking stuff down.
Well, I've got a Minuteman here. Minuteman, did you get all your stuff out from underneath the tree? No, I haven't. I've been letting my feet heal up and my knee. My knee finally gave out on me. My knee, I had surgery on a couple years back. I'm always working out, exercise, and trying to build it up. But that long walk in the middle of the night, I do have video of me navigating out of the night, out of the woods, because there's no trails, using maps and my headlamp. So that video will be coming out. When I go to that campsite again, where I was camped at, I will film before I cut up the tree and get all my gear out. I don't know how bad everything is. I got a little small tripod here. That actually tripod came from X24 Prepper, who I did see in the chat. Definitely do appreciate that, brother. So yeah, I still have to get out there. Opinions on silver. All right, silver's dropping. It is. Same, it's dropping. It's going to come back. I really believe it is. A lot of people I've been talking to, and I tried. I'm no financial expert. Let's make sure we get that clear. I still buy all the time. As a matter of fact, I've got some mercury dimes coming in, and I don't really mess with what they call junk silver, 90% silver, but I got it for bartering purposes. I'd rather give that little piece than a 5-ounce bar. And I also got some 5-note gold backs, just came in today. I still buy when I can, even if it's only $40 worth of stuff. I'm still buying something and putting back. Silver will drop, in my opinion. We'll probably see it drop down to 17, and then it's going to take back off again. Right now, in my belief, the market's being played a lot, and here's the reason behind my saying this. With the green new, that phrase, for them to manufacture the equipment necessary for electric vehicles, nothing but solar, all this stuff, the big component is silver. So to make this dream that they have go into place, they need silver. They can't do it when silver's $28 an ounce. But if they manipulate the market, get everybody to start selling that stuff and they drop it down, they buy it for a mint. And I believe this push with this green new stuff, you know, the cleaner environment for all their technology advancement to solar panel, everything, stuff like that, you need silver. Silver is a great conductor for electricity. And because they need it, they manipulate the market and they're keeping it down. So I think it might drop down to 17. I still do not sell what you have. Keep it. It's going to go back up in value. It always does. It always goes up. It always drops down. The only time I sold mine is during the shutdown. Because my job was shut down. The only income I had was on YouTube. Everyone thinks I make a lot of money on YouTube. No, most of my money I make is from my business. I make money on YouTube. Never lied about that, but I don't make as much as people think. When I needed the money, I took my silver to the bullion shop, and I was able to almost get twice as much as my original investment, almost. And it was able to catch all our bills and things like that that we needed because we were hurting. I mean, just like most Americans, when the jobs were being shut down and stuff, you still gotta pay your bills. So having gold, and gold is, I mean, our other channel guys, silver and gold. You see, I do little fractional pieces of gold. Now that 2.8 grams is almost $200. I can't afford to get an ounce of gold every, all the time. I can't. It's $1,800. But if I can save up and invest in a small piece here and there, that still gives me something to fall back on for a economic collapse or inflation. Now, during a bartering situation, yes, I believe it will have its place when the dollar drops. It's not going to last forever, though, because when it comes down to it, no one's going to give you anything. They're not going to give you a can of beans for a silver coin. At least I wouldn't when it comes down to it. But later, when things start rebuilding, yeah, silver is definitely going to hold. I mean, silver and gold has always had value. So that's my opinion on that. I got a little long-winded on that, but that's up to you guys. I've had some questions about our affiliate with them. They were our second affiliate program we actually got affiliated with, and I just never pushed it. First one was Legacy. All right, our long-term food stores, that was our first one. And then Money Metals Exchange was our second one. And I just never pushed it because I was at the time could only buy so much. And how can I sit there and push a product when I don't even have it myself? So when I started gearing up and ramping up on it, and I'm showing it on other channels because we're pushing hard on it. So that's why we show that affiliate link. Just like our long-term food, that's stuff that we use. Some of the solar generators we get, we're not affiliated with. This is stuff they sent me, and I have, think in my head, well, what can I use this for if they send it to me? Let me test it out. It works. It can only run a fan for 5 hours, but I can give that to somebody if they need it. So I'll do a video for you. But unlike this guy here, got a brand new 2,000 watt oak mow, and what does he do? Takes it apart. This is why you can't have nice things. No, he takes it apart. He's actually tearing the guts out so he can actually test and actually prove what it can do, what its capacity is. He's actually tearing all this stuff apart. But this was before I didn't know that he was actually starting to make his own systems that you can, buy your own parts and make your own. I didn't know that. I just get this video. I'm like, dude, that thing was brand new. Why'd you tear it apart?
I really wanted to find out if they were BSing, because it's like you get something like that and they tell you it's X about whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, you could buy battery cells, from AliExpress or something and get them in, and they're labeled 100 amp hours, and you run them, and it's like, oh, it's only 80. So I really wanted to know where they BSing us, and that's what led to that. But yeah, that was interesting. There were a couple spots in there where I was looking at. I'm like, boy, I hope I can get that sucker back together. But it's actually sitting right next to me now.
I think the video is still up there on your website.
Yeah, it's there.
I'm looking at all that stuff. I'm like, no. My wife's looking at me and says, "Oh no." No. Because she knows me. I like to take things apart all the time. Oh, I can put it back together. Don't worry about it. She said, no. See here. I saw Ghetto. Good to see you, brother. Yvonne Eric is also in the house. Good to see you, my friend. How are you doing? And Cheryl P. Good to see you. All right. So scroll through here. Dragon Slayer. I didn't see Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer is here. All right. With the value of the dollar being higher, this also helps. Yeah, and that value of the dollar being higher is actually definitely manipulated. We saw that when it happened. That is definitely being manipulated hard. I had a friend of mine, I won't say his name because I didn't get the okay on that. He uses USAA, military veteran, and he contacted me and said that they sold his mortgage account to an outsource. And there's other companies doing the exact same thing. Like there's a lot of banks and stuff are like getting out of the mortgages for some reason. Concerning, I don't know what it means. It is, to me, it looks sketch as far as like they think it's gonna, there's something gonna collapse on it, in my opinion, but I don't know enough about it. But he had contacted me about it. I'm looking at it. So this is pure speculation on my end. But for USAA to do that and other companies, I'm like, why would they? I mean, like as if they don't want to have their hands in mortgages anymore. And usually these big establishments start doing that when they think that something major is going to happen, they're going to lose. So they don't do it out of the kindness of their heart. They do it for profits. All businesses do. So made me wonder about that. Bones, good to see you, my friend. So Ryan, what else you got for us, man? Now I'm going to put you on the spot, or I could keep on talking. You can go get your eggs. I don't care.
Yeah, it's up to you. But I mean, I would be open to any questions you guys have about anything. I mean, like I said, you guys know I'm a licensed dealer, so if you got questions about that stuff, we can kind of try to talk around it a little bit. Um, but as far as what I've been seeing most recently is a lot of interest, and I don't know where it's coming from, but in those less lethal Byrna launchers. I don't know what's driving that. I think it has something more to do with the states that aren't so firearm friendly. I think there's people in those states starting to get really uncomfortable about what could happen to them or what's going on in their area. And then they go to find a gun to protect themselves and they find out they can't have one or they can't buy one or own one. And they're like, shoot, what do I do? So, that's been something we've been doing a lot of. But like I said, the big thing lately I found has been these solar generators I've been building. Those things are really cool. And you can build anything, from small stuff like the size of the Oakmo or any other, one you would buy online, all the way up to like my system. I can run my entire house off of it. It's a 13,000 watt hour lithium iron phosphate battery. That's enough to run my house for over a full day, and it's 220. So right now I'm building a system for a guy who has a pump house. A lot of places out here just have pump houses and wells, and I'm building one so he has a perpetual system that just continuously runs his well pump. Things like that have really been doing well. But I have noticed some weird, like maybe 3 months ago or so, all of a sudden people weren't spending money like they had been before. So I could tell there's some hesitation where like even with the bang bangs, that stuff right now you would think would be flying. And maybe in some cases it is, but I've seen a lot of hesitation. I think it has a lot to do with people being really uncertain about the economy and the value of the dollar and that kind of stuff. I mean, if your dollar's now worth 70 cents or whatever and headed in the wrong direction, you may not want to be spending your money kind of stuff. So I've seen a lot of that lately. So I do, I also do a lot of like concierge-ish kind of stuff. Like I'm not necessarily just a store where people walk in and they buy this or that. I mean, you can come to me and be like, I'm looking for this wild item and I'll go try to find it for you and figure out, or maybe even build it. I don't know. So there's a lot of that too, where I get people just coming to me with odd, strange projects. We're doing an off-grid whatever, and we need power and a well pump and yada yada, that type of stuff. So I do a lot of that as well.
But yeah, and that's another thing. It's not just firearm related on your store or on your website. I want to touch bases before we get to Ghetto's question here. He has all sorts of preparedness items from everything from survival to prepping. It's all in his store. It's not just firearm. But I want to really stress out the firearm part because this is something he actually does for a living as far as gunsmithing, licensed dealer, all that stuff. He is legit on that. But also with the store, you do online sales. Also, you got the store there that you've been working on actually, so you have an actual physical location. People can go in. I've been following your build on that. He also has that on this too, where he's going through the whole renovation and build on this thing. Freaking awesome. But now with Ghetto here, he asked, can you ask Ryan point of view on the Gov wanted to take our guns? I think they are actually trying to get us to buy more using fear factor like Obama did. Before you answer that, I also want to say I don't think they during the Obama administration it wasn't a fear tactic. They were they were trying to, and they just failed at it. But I'll let you cover that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for just first and foremost, it's BS. I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's an unattainable goal for them. I really truly believe that most of it is this political thing. Like, how could they score political points? You know, they find something that people are afraid of or uncomfortable with, and then they head toward that topic. So if there's some kind of thing that happens at a school and everybody gets worked up, they're going to be able to get a ton of brownie points making these points and trying to push home, you know, new legislation and stuff like that. I do believe I say they, but it's so hard. You know, that's like one of those things where it's like they, who is they? But in general, I think those in control would like us to not be armed. But I don't see how it could ever happen here in the US. The only worry I have is it's not so much about whether or not they'll push it. My worry starts to get to how weak is the populace, and I don't mean physically weak. I mean, like, it's easy for people online to say, oh yeah, come to my house and find out what happens, but the reality is the vast majority of people will sit on their couch and let them take their safe. I mean, I hate to say it, but I fear sometimes that if they did want to come do some big old, you know, communist type dictator push and come take them all or force us, that they would be able to take a lot more. And I think the more that our country kind of gets divided and separated on these issues, and you have all these anti-gunners really pushing hard, like that group is getting big. I mean, that anti-gunner group is getting large, and the larger that gets, the less pro-gun people we have to stand up. And it's really truly, I believe, only a relatively small fraction of those people who would stand at the door and not let them in, kind of thing. If you catch my drift on that. So I don't know. I think they don't want us to have them, but I don't know how they would ever actually get them. And then unless it got to the point where we were so intimidated, weak, desperate, whatever that might be, where we give them to them. And I think they know that's the only thing. But I really think truly most of that is just smokescreen stuff with politics. The problem is if they push one anti-gun law, it never comes back off the book. So it's not like they could do this and this and this, and then the next term they roll those three back. It very rarely ever gets undone. So they just keep chipping away one little thing at a time, one little thing at a time. But lately I've seen some movement in, I forget what the term is. Essentially, like, so you've got a government agency like the ATF, right? And the ATF is an enforcement agency. They do not make laws. They do not interpret laws. I guess they interpret them, but they can't arbitrarily reinterpret laws and things like that. So what the ATF has been doing is saying, well, this here is illegal because blah, blah, blah. And then they'll look at the thing next to it and say, well, this one's also illegal because blah, 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 equating the two when they're totally different. So they're using this thing to interpret laws specifically just to get rid of that. And then let's go reinterpret again a different way now to just get rid of that. And they can't legally be doing that. That's Congress. That's up to Congress. And if you've seen recently, there have been some rulings going on where they're a Chevron deference. That's what I'm talking about. Chevron deference. So they're talking like you cannot just arbitrarily be doing that. And the Supreme Court has made a couple rulings recently, which really kind of put that home. Like, you cannot, as an agency, like, you can't make a rule. You can't change the definition of what a machine gun is, period. That's not your role. And that's the type of things that ATF has been doing to try to, restrict our rights. And so I see some positive in that. Like, if Chevron deference became a thing where they're saying like cut this out, you can't keep doing this stuff, that's positive for gun owners. I mean, the Constitution is what it is. Our rights are what they are. It's not up to the ATF or that agency to be changing those rules. All they're doing is taking what the rule is and applying it. that's their job, and they've stepped way outside of that scope. So I don't know though. There's some. It's just for me. It's like there's some positive going on and there's some negative going on, but it just seems like 90% of it is clickbaity. You know what I mean? It's just like getting everybody fired up about this, like getting them all fired up about that, and then separating the populace. I think that's a bigger worry than the actual rule of, oh, no more pistol braces. Like, I think the fact that they're able to control us so much and control our thinking so much that you could literally get a neighbor to report another neighbor for something that was not even really an issue. They just fabricated this whole thing and made it seem like a big thing, you know? So I think they're just like all the other big hot button topics. They're just using it to divide us and make us weaker. If we all stood as one, the government has no chance. We don't stand as one anymore.
Well, that's the thing. I was talking to my wife about this earlier today. I see the, cold dead hand. We all need to make a stand, all this stuff. The country's divided. If they've been working at this for a while, we're not going to see the, not anytime soon anyway, because they're not ready for it yet. We see it coming, but they're not ready for this yet. They want to keep picking away and keep picking away. And one of the things that you lose your firearms, well, you don't lose your firearm, you lose your firearm right, because they just added a new law that you just recently broke. Might not even be firearm related, but now you got a felony because this is now a felony that you've done something here. And also they've been pushing with the mental health thing as far as using mental health to take away your firearm rights. And what's one of the biggest things here in this country is mental health issues. So all they have to do is label you down, and I'm sorry, you can't own one because you were Baker acted or you took a spa day at this location for 3 days. And now because of that, you're unstable according to us. And we're going to see more of that. And I don't see them rolling in with tanks and everything on everybody. It's going to be a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And when the populace, like you said, grows on the other side, then they'll make their move, because now you're considered a domestic T, because you're the one holding out, not following society, and then we become a smaller number. As far as the ones that say, "Oh, I need to make a stand to go do this right now," this isn't 1776 where the opposition has the exact same armament as you. We're talking about some serious hardware, and they will turn it against you. So I'm not saying we shouldn't make a stand. What I'm saying, we just need to be ready for what's coming, because it is coming. And people get upset, well, that's not unpatriotic, and that's not unpatriotic. I value my life. I plan things out so I get myself out of situations. All right. That's how you survive. I'm not chasing down an Abram. I'm not going to. I know what we can do. All right. I'm not going to sit there and fight Chinooks and everything else. Well, you won't be fighting Chinook, Apaches. I'm not going to do that, because one thing, with their camera system, I don't care how concealed you are out in the woods, they're going to see you. And I love the comments. You can use a Mylar blanket to defeat heat signature. Have you actually looked at that signature? It clearly shows a nice square area that they're not able to read up. They know something's there. So I see a lot of the play pretend, but it sounds great. But when you're actually having to do it, just like outdoor survival, when you're toting gear and when you're toting all those mags and all that stuff, and you're going 12, 26, 30 some miles through the bush, not a road, not a path, through the bush, that's a long haul. And you might think you're able to do something, but until you're actually training and doing stuff, there's a big difference. So not unpatriotic at all. This is the true CFP. Homestead Oz, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, and I make people mad because I don't want to go along with the bubble. All right. That's what's going to get people killed. Everybody in the fantasy world. Now, should there things that need to be done? Yeah, there's a lot of legislation that needs to go through, but we got this fight coming, and it's not going to be slinging freedom seeds. They're doing it legal aspects that they can to take these things away, where if you react in any form or fashion, you're the bad guy. You're the one going down. And I see all that, well, I'd rather die. All you've done was justify what they're doing. They're not going to give you the honorable mention on news and why you did something. No, that's the small channels and the small news groups, the small conservation groups, stuff like that. They're not going to be there supporting you. You're going to be the bad guy, is what you're going to be. All right. This is coming no matter what to this country. All right, I see it all the time on my channel. End times, the Bible this, the Bible that. Do you really believe that? Because if you do, you know you're not going to stop what is coming this way. This stuff is rolling in hard on us. You need to be prepared for what is going to come. And that's my thoughts on it. Straight talk right here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to address
my opinion on things, and most people don't like my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to address Jeff Gregory had a thing in here. He said, but you would have to get the military to turn on the citizens. Most are 2A supporters. And it was actually something I was kind of thinking about talking about here was the watering down of police forces and our military. And it kind of ties into what you said, like how you can make a rule about something over here and that turns you into a felon or whatever happened. Okay, so I've got some friends I got a lot of friends who are military guys. And recently with with the jab, it's become a thing in the military where you're going to take this. And it didn't matter what any of these people thought or said or wanted or any of their belief, nothing. It didn't matter. You're going to take this. And they started actually kicking people out of the military. The same thing like when you see the police force and everybody started, hating on the police and they're saying these guys are terrible and all this stuff. What happens when these good people who are there for whatever, they're there because they want to protect this country. They're there because they want to be a police force and help the citizens. And you start forcing those people out, what's left are the people who just fall in line and comply. And I'm not saying that people who, take the jab are falling in line or complying, but some of them very well may be doing it just because they don't want to lose their job. And that's not the type of people who are going to stand up when it's either them on the firing line or they go get that guy's gun. They're just going to say, okay, I'll go get his gun then, so I think you're right.
They're going to play scenarios against them. I saw the comment
Yeah.
our military will turn on against it. It's not going to be a straight drop of the hat. Here's the red line given to the military. They're going to manipulate exactly what's being said and why they're in that area. It's not going to be, we're going against these people because they don't want to listen to us anymore. It's not going to be cut dry like that. It's going to be completely Waco style stuff. They're going to be told one thing and then something else is going to happen. If you don't know about Waco, actually do some serious research on that. Same with Ruby Mountain Range place. That's
if you guys want to see too, I've got a Waco video on my channel where I interview somebody who was security at that siege, and you could find out. But you're absolutely right. They're going to be telling them, they're going to be making it seem how they want it to seem. And you could even see this. I watched a video, it was maybe a month ago or so, where they took some of these POW Russian guys who got captured over in Ukraine, and they took them up and they were interviewing them as a panel in front of, all of the media in Ukraine and stuff. And these guys were talking about how the government was telling them, like, this is a training exercise. This isn't real. We're not really doing this. We're going here because these people did that. And afterward, they found out that that wasn't true. They were invading a country and killing people, and they were told it was for reason X, and it wasn't right. So I'm not saying that you're completely wrong, because I think there are a lot of people in our military and police, forces that are good, solid people. But I do believe that they're using every tactic they can to water those down. And at some point, it's going to flip to where there's more people who will just do anything you say, right or wrong. They'll just do it because they're worried about themselves versus standing up for what's right. I see.
They've been calling out the police force. They've been calling out emergency services. They've been calling out our military. They want people that follow. I mean, there are some that sit there and refuse. I know a lot of them that actually they took their leave. Okay, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting stuck in the arm. They took their leave. Well, they found somebody that would, and they replaced them with that. And
exactly.
you think that they won't keep on doing the indoctrination on this? They will. They don't want to go to a conflict with the American people with a force they can't trust. They want their people there. And here's another thing, just case in point, everybody remembers the whole January incident up in DC when they started moving certain guard members because of affiliation and political aspect. It wasn't their narrative, so they pulled them and replaced them with others. That happened because they were pro an administration, so they removed them. No, they wanted their people up. I'm not saying all military is going to do that, but I'm saying they're forcing this, and watch and see if we don't see even more division in this. They want somebody they can control. There's too many free thinking people came out with a jab. All right, let's thin these people out because they won't listen to us, so they're going to have to leave. And then it's going to be more and more stuff. So this isn't a straight up thing against a red line. This is this and this is that. They're going to completely manipulate what's being said, and they'll be acting on orders that are being told in a different scenario, and or they've got their own personal Gestapo team. That's probably not a good.
And I think if you if you just look at the trends too, I mean, I think it's probably a fair assessment. If you looked at people in whatever, you go back to like 1950, like how many people were really truly patriotic Americans, and then you take a look at it right now, I think you would see this trend going in the wrong direction. That they're, we all see this stuff all the time on social media where people are, they ask the question, is America, a great nation? And there's people, oh, absolutely not. This is a horrible place. And I feel like there is so much more of that going on today that, Jeff, I don't think it's necessarily that we're there yet, but I think it's all being pushed and manipulated to get it there, so that at some point they have just people behind them who will do whatever they want them to do. I don't know. I'm never a guy who says I'm 100% right, or I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that I'm wrong on this stuff, but I don't know. I just see it going in the wrong direction, and may not be my lifetime, but I feel like we're headed in the wrong direction, and at some point it's going to be an issue.
No, I'm right here, Jeff. There's a tremendous backlash between Waco and Ruby, though. I think there's a huge difference between the jab and going against your countrymen. I completely agree with that too. There is a huge difference, but what I'm saying is that they're grooming this. It's not like back when I was in the service. It's not the same mindset. There are some good people, absolutely. But this system, this society, not just this administration, the government, and not just ours, they're working together. This whole thing's working together. Just look at what's going on with this whole conflict overseas. They're all working together. They're only telling us what they want us to know because they have their own agenda, and it's not what they're saying. And believe it or not, YouTube creators, me, everybody, we all got emails saying we can't even speak out against what's going on over there because we will lose funding and payments because we sat there and went against what's going on over there. We got that. I'll post that video for you. I'll take that screenshot of my email from YouTube that says that if I'm against what's happening with the Ukraine people, the war going on over there, if I spoke out against that, I would lose my stuff. That's this platform. They're always working to something, but it's not going to be cut clean dry. They're going to manipulate. And my belief, they're going to manipulate this, and we're going to have a force that's not us. That's not going to be there. They're going to keep on phasing them out. And yeah, I mean, with the jab, I'm not saying the jab was everything. I said, but that's just going to show you exactly. People are like, well, no, I'm not going to get that. I'll take my way out. That's fine. They got somebody else to replace them with, and that's what they did. Well, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I think a good example of what you're saying, because I agree with Jeff on that. Like, they're totally two different things. But I think if you took a look at like the police force around the Floyd situation, when all that stuff got super crazy, and all of a sudden they put all of these rules into place to where cops couldn't even go out and do their job anymore. And so what did they do? Instead of being forced to handle situations in a dangerous way or whatever, they left, and that opened up a vacuum and a gap. And what type of people came in after that? It was the people who didn't really care. They just wanted a job. They just needed their money, whatever. Like you said, it's not, some of it's definitely grooming, and some of it's just like, well, let's get these hard-headed, strong individuals out of this. And how can they do that? And I always thought like around the police situation the last few years, that was a really good example of how they made the job so impossible and so risky that good people didn't want to do it. And if the good people aren't doing it, then who is doing it? And it's the other people, and not that everybody would be terrible, but they would be a little less scrupulous than the people who loved being there and loved serving and protecting and wanted nothing, wanted the best for everybody. You force them out of their job and you get a knucklehead.
You look at the defunding. All right, we all saw that, and you have their superiors saying, "You're standing down. You're not enforcing this." Well, the good ones are like, "Why am I here?" So they're not going to fight for something they don't believe in anymore, because every time they do their job, they're going to get reprimanded and punished for. So, of course, why am I here? But they have somebody that's happy to turn their eye when they're told to turn their eye. And that's what I'm saying. This is what we're going to see. I'm not saying what we were as far as when we enlist and stuff. This is something that's going to get based. It's going to be what they want to happen. And that's who they're going to be grooming and have installed in this position. It's not going to be like you and me up there going, no, wait a second, this ain't right. That's not who they want working for them. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going against the military. I never go against the military. What I'm saying is that I'm seeing this new thing with what they're doing, everything from emergency service, police, military. It's going to be to do their bidding no matter what. That's what they're agreeing. That's what they're trying to make in place. Sure, there might be some good ones still in there. Absolutely. I'm not saying that. But they're trying to make this happen. And that's why I'm saying, that's what I'm saying when I'm saying on this.
Yeah, I essentially feel the same way. Like, I don't think they could make that move right now, but 40 years from now, maybe. I don't know. It's 80 years. I don't know, but it's definitely not heading to a place where I feel better about it. I feel like it's headed the opposite direction, and that's scary. Especially you start thinking about your kids and stuff like that, and it's like, man, kids, grandkids, what are they going to be living in or living under?
I was talking to my son. He's wanting to join the service. He's got several more years to go. I don't want him joining that service, but if it's something that he wants to do, I support him in it. And I ask him, why do you want to do it? Want to serve my country. Okay, I'm okay with that. But I'm hoping when he sees what it is, he makes other decisions. But if he chooses to, hey, I'll stand behind us. Yeah, I'll stand behind him. Of course I will. But it's not the same. It's not the same. It's all changed. And of course, everybody would like, well, times change. Yeah, times do change, but morality should not change. That should still be there. And unfortunately, this country, the morality has went out the window a long time ago, and it's just getting worse. And it's always about people's feelings and how they entitle what they should be getting and attention they should be getting, and not the moral, what the morality, what's really there. I mean, you see that all the time. Jeff, I think it would be okay. The new generation is so something. Sorry, man. It just went through. It's so full of. Okay, I see your comment now.
That's funny.
Oh man, yeah.
I agree with you there, Jeff. I agree with you on that for sure.
Homestead Aussie will see in the next year, we hope. Yeah, I must have missed that one. I did see Milkmaid here. Milkmaid, good to see you, my friend. And I think one of our mods put up your link for your channel, which is awesome. And hopefully you guys have put up a link for Prepping by Faith. She's pretty new on YouTube itself. So yeah, definitely do make sure you get that link up there for her, guys. So I am going to wrap up here soon, brother. That way I don't keep everybody here too long. But I want to leave it open for anything else you want to discuss before we do.
Talking to me or the group?
You.
Me? I mean, I don't have a whole lot. I appreciate you having me on here. I appreciate everybody being here.
Man. What, playing with the computer?
Answer questions.
Take them nowhere.
I know. They don't not listening to me anyway. No, I appreciate being here. I appreciate everybody. If if you guys have any kind of question, and if there's ever anything I can help you guys out with, most people know that I'm pretty open and I'm pretty available. So I have a handful of places you guys can follow me: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There's a handful of places where I'm active and usually pretty involved. And if there's anything in my realm of expertise that you guys ever want to see, please, get a hold of me on my channel, because I'm always looking for new content ideas. And sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. It depends on what it is and how bad YouTube's going to throttle it, because it's kind of hard. There's so many things that I want to do. I want to do videos on this or that, and they're just awesome topics, but I know I'm going to spend 15 hours creating this whole thing, and it's not cheap to go shoot up a bunch of rounds or anything. And then you spend all this money and all this time and you plop it on and you get 40 views, and it's like, boy, that just cost a lot of money, and you can only do that so many times before it's not worth it. So I'm always looking for new content ideas and stuff like that. So I'm always here for anybody who wants to.
Yeah, especially you spend all the time and energy on a video. When it does drop to 40 views, it just gets buried in the system. It always does.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
unless someone's specifically looking for it, and then they have to scroll nonstop to actually find it because it just gets buried. Again, definitely appreciate, Ryan, that you came out here with us. I am actually going to be reaching out to Praxis again. Praxis Prepper Homesteading. I messed up his name there. It's Praxis. All right, he was here a couple weeks ago. Last time I spoke to him, he wanted to do a channel with you also. So, you know, we get that hooked up. I don't know when that's going to happen yet. I got to contact him because he is busy. He does, you know, he's working and everything else, plus his homestead he's working on. So we're going to get something together, guys, and we're going to be doing more and more collaboration videos like this where I know the people, I know what they're about, I know they live what they're saying, and they're experts in their field. That will get you some informative decisions on things. I mean, yeah, we started the show about talking about the freeze dryer. All right. Yeah, it's a product to buy. But I know Ryan uses this thing. I know he sells it. He has the ins and outs on it. And I wanted to ask him because I get those questions all the time. And I'm like, go talk to Ryan because I don't know. So instead of me blowing smoke and saying, oh, yeah, man, it's great. Yeah, I heard they're great, but I've never tried one. So, you know, that's why I wanted him on here. I want him to actually talk about the stuff, same with the bang bangs and stuff like that, guys, because I want the experienced people that have the backing up actually explain things. So anyway, I definitely appreciate it. You guys can find his link in the description for his website, his Instagram, his YouTube, and I forgot to put your Twitter up, man. My bad.
That's okay. My Twitter doesn't do too much. I say too many things they don't like. So I don't get a lot of traction on there anyway. But it is, I mean, that's one of those areas that's fun to keep abreast of the craziness going on in this country. Like, there's some wild people out there. Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. So we're going to wrap up here. Definitely appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. And like I said, we got more videos up. Hopefully, here in a couple weeks, we can get the new stream hooked up with Ryan and Praxis. So talk to y'all later.
It'll be fun.